Hello everyone and welcome to Jade Productions Army Blog videos, the Army Blog series where we go through and we're talking about our armies, showing them off, seeing what they can do, discuss them a little bit in depth, how best to grow them, how we're going, stuff like that, just in general all-purpose discussion about whatever army the blog happens to be on about. This one, as you might have guessed by the title, is for the Adeptus Mechanicus army that I've started. So quick little background, started this army in mid 7th edition to have something new. At the time, I only had Chaos, Space Wolves, and Eldar, and it was before I got serious about the Death Guard that I started these up, and then all of a sudden my intention was split between the two. So these are an army that I've been growing for quite some time, since I wasn't initially interested when they came out, but I learned to love them as I learned more about them. And now I'm completely infatuated with them, even if I can't win a single game with them. Like, wow, my record is terrible with the Adeptus Mechanicus. Mostly, though, because I just don't have a lot of stuff for them yet. So, we'll jump straight into it, give you a little rundown of basically what I've got. So, first things first, like any sane Adeptus Mechanicus player, I have Belisarius Cawl in my army. Belisarius Cawl, he's a brilliant machine. I've even taken him to some local fun little tournaments. He's done well every time. His reroll is superb, and he's a real pain in the ass to take down. At the time, yeah, he's a real pain. And he's 240 points now as of chapter approved, so that's nice. 10 points cheaper for all that matters. Every little bit counts. That's a whole nother Vanguard now. So we've got a Tech Priest Dominus in the army now. They're 115 points base now as of chapter approved. My one's got a Macro Stubber and an Eradication Ray for 127 points. They're very decent units. They're very decent units. I'm a big fan of them. They're not quite used in combat, but they tend to have enough weaponry. I feel like I've built him a little wrong, so I probably will get some more in the form of get starting boxes, because the Adeptus Mechanicus get starting box is just so much value for money, and everything in it is useful. So I might get another one of him and have a couple of these running around in the future, but for now I've only just got the one, and Belisarius Cawl, and that is literally it for the HQ section of Adeptus Mechanicus that I own. Typically when I play, I'm always using the Mars Forge World, I'm always coming in a battalion, and I'm always using Belisarius Cawl as my warlord. I just don't have enough of a collection to play around with the other stuff. I like the two HQs, I don't have a Tech Priest Engine Seer. I don't intend on getting a Tech Priest Engine Seer. I'd rather just invest more money and points in a unit that I consider to actually be useful. Like, I don't consider the Tech Priest Engine Seer useful at all. It can heal. Well, whoop-dee. It's a Space Marine that can heal. I'd rather take something that can actually contribute to the fight in some way, since, well, the Tech Priest Dominuses, they often don't let me down. So, troops choices, keeping it relatively simple. I've got a lot of troops for the army thus far. So right now, I've got a 3-man Cataphrone Destroyer squad. All of them have grav cannons, heavy grav cannons, and they all, 2 of them have phosphor blasters, and 1 of them has a flamer. And that brings, that's a 203 point squad, in my army. I typically bring that when I need something like, well, it was weird. Originally, I used it in 7th edition as sort of like a heavy, sort of a gunnery artillery squad, really useful for taking out tanks with their sheer number of shots, and Space Marines, and anything that was really high armor value. With the changes to grav cannon, I don't really mind that. I really like the changes to grav in 8th edition. I think it's a much better, a lot less ridiculous. So now I use them as sort of a mixture between light anti-vehicle, vehicles that I can kind of wound on 5s, typically, if I can get enough shots. Typically, I'll try to make sure I've got if I'm going after something with vehicles, I'll try and get as many rerolls and as high a ballistic skill as I can. Through stratagems now. mostly I use them now in an anti-marines role, since typically the other troops choices in the Admech army just don't have the firepower to punch through like a 3-up armor with any sort of regularity. So strength 5, AP minus 3, D3 damage to things that are it's much better. I've had great success against monsters in the past. But as of 8th edition, against things like Tyranids, less success against monsters. So, yeah. So 3 Cataphoron Destroyers. I've got 2 squads of 5 Skitarii Rangers. So 1 Skitarii Ranger squad has Omnispecs and 2 Transuranic Arquebus for sniping purposes. I got another one that's got Omnispecs and just Galvanic Rifles. The plan, I think, there is to sort of make the 5-man squad into a 10-man squad for really cheap bubble wrap now, since they're like 7 points per model, 70 points, you know. I think that it's a cheap bubble wrap, so I might consider taking that in the... I think I'll flesh that out when I get another box of Skitarii. I'll really want to make another 5-man squad with 2 Transuranic Arquebus. I don't think it's worth taking a 10-man squad to get 3 Transuranics, because it's wasting a lot of points and a lot of shots from the rest of the squad. So I feel like squad of 5, Omnispecs, 2 Transuranics works pretty well. The Transuranics and the Skitarii are pretty accurate, and the Transuranics are just amazing guns that I really, really enjoy using. They've never really disappointed when they hit. The trouble is when they don't hit or bounce off an invul save, then they tend to be a real, well, meh. So I really think I need more of them to sort of capitalize on that, because they are fantastic guns. A little disappointed about the change in 7th to 8th edition where you can't move with them anymore. I really miss being relentless on my Skitarii infantry. I really miss having Feel No Pains on my infantry. You could argue that a 6-up invul save is a little better. Actually, you can argue that it's a lot better in the current edition, but well, since I traditionally play Mars, I don't get the extra durability that certain other Forge Worlds give this edition in the Codex. But hey, I gotta admit, I was super happy that they finally put Cult Mechanicus and Skitarii into one Codex. So much easier. It was a stupid design decision why they split them. I'll never know. It was really stupid the way they had it before. They needed to be one army. Everyone fielded them as such. I've got 2... So, yeah. There you come to 42 points for the guys without Transuranics. And 92 points for 5 guys with 2 Transuranics. So, pretty... For 92 points for a decent sniper squad with 60-inch range, strength 7, AP minus 2, D3 damage, able to target characters and mortal wounds. That is pretty good. That's pretty good points value, I think. Then I've got 2 10-man Skitarii squads, which are now down to 8 points per model, which makes them really, really cheap. I've got a 99-point squad, which is just a 10-man squad with an Omnispecs and arc rifle, 3 arc rifles, and nothing on the Sergeant. Probably my biggest mistake. Probably should remodel the Sergeant at some point to have arc pistol and taser goad, because while that squad is cheap, the other squad I found having a taser goad and arc pistol on your Sergeant, having higher strength weaponry on your Skitarii really helps out, especially in 8th edition. Well, maybe it helps. I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining it helps when I get overrun by Sisters of Battle on the first turn and end up having no shooting, have to do a melee slog against, toughness 3, 3-up armor save Sisters of Battle for the rest of the game until they slowly hack me to peace, and when Celestine finally dies, she resurrects. I'm not salty. I'm not salty at all. So I've got a 2nd Skitarii squad. They're 8 points per model. These guys have got 6 carbines, 3 plasma calivers, which really, really work well when I'm not rolling like complete garbage. The Codex has made them a lot better. I really need to remember every time I use the Codex that the plasma guns, I really just need to use the protector protocols to make the doctriners to make them actually, really powerful with overcharging safely. An arc pistol and sergeant with a taser goad, and then an enhanced data tether. The enhanced data tether is something I'm probably going to start giving to everyone, since morale is now a real issue for the Skitarii. Like, wow, that was a huge nerf. Skitarii infantry in 7th edition just they were really immovable. They had really high leadership because the idea was that they were just brainwashed robots. Now they have guardsman leadership and don't have any access to commissars. So you got to pay 5 points for what is essentially "and they shall know no fear." Makes them really hard to run in 10-man squads, but I keep running them in 10-man squads. I don't break them down because I'm having more success running them in 10-man squads. I feel like, yeah, because typically I'm using them to support gun lines and doing multiple leadership buffs from things like the Onagas, which are typically key to my gun lines. So yeah, that's it. It's 134 points for 3 plasmas, an arc pistol, and taser goad. That squad has performed really well in almost every game I've played, with a few exceptions. Mostly those exceptions come from when I'm rolling like hot garbage, which happens a lot. I've got the Cybernetica Data Smith. I've not used him yet. I've really not used him yet. I've never used his ability. He's 44 points. I've never used him. I've just never used this Cyber Priest. It's an elite slot just that I never take. Unless I just have spare points. And even then he ends up typically doing nothing. I don't think he's really... I don't know. Cybernetica Data Smith. Like, if I look at him here on my codex, he's kind of like a very angry Terminator with decent movement, but really bad weapon skill and ballistic skill. Decent ballistic skill. Bad weapon skill by the time you take into the fact that he's only got a power fist. And he's only got 2 attacks. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, you're lucky if you get 1. Hitting on 3s, if you're not rolling on hot garbage, you'll get a wound. AP -3, they've got a chance to change it. He can only repair Castellan robots, which is fine, but it's only Castellan robots. He'd be probably a little bit more useful if I could run him with some other stuff. His keywords are alright. There's nothing super fantastic about it. And then he's got an invul save, so, invul save, 5 up. It'll block 33% of the damage he takes. Yeah, so Cybernetica Data Smith. I've never really just used him, the only reason I had him in 7th edition was because he came along with the robots. So heavy, so for heavy, I've got 2 Onaga Dune Crawlers, both of which have the broad spectrum data tether. They both have 2 Cognos Heavy Stubbers. Why not? And they both have neutron lasers and are 143 points. Index, they were far superior to the Lehman Russ for little less cost. Now, while they have better weapons and an invul save, the Lehman Russ, I had a shootout with one with T's Lehman Russ. It's the ability to shoot twice is what makes the Lehman Russ better now. Despite the fact that the Onaga is still cheaper and still has better guns, the Lehman Russ just fires so much. So it can be a little daunting. But the Onagas are still fantastic, still need more of them. Oh my god. Neutron lasers, when they work, as I said, I have a tendency to roll like hot garbage, and a lot of the time when I face T, they tend to get charged, like turn 1 through Sisters of Battle bullshit and Acts of Faith. When I took them to tournaments, I took 2 of them in Belisarius Call. They tend to rip through armored stuff. Took down a knight fairly quick. With the aid of those in a gun line with the Cataphrons have done very, very well at demolishing most things. just protecting with a bubble wrap. I just don't have enough bubble wrap, and I don't have enough melee bubble wrap for them. So I've got 2 of these. I always forget to give them smoke launchers and pop smoke, so that's my bad. I have 2 Castellan robots as my final thing in my army. Now, the 2 Castellan robots are magnetized. I went out and, well, I had T magnetize them for me so that I can swap out any of the weapons. So I can field them either with 3 heavy phosphor blasters, or I can field them with fists and combustors, depending on how I'm feeling. I haven't used them too much. I've only used, so far, the... Oh, no. No, I realize I haven't used them at all. I'll have to do a game with them. I'm scheduled to go do a game immediately after this ends against T, who's also bringing his Chaos Demons of Slaanesh. So we're going to go into a battle and see how that goes, and, yeah. Of course, he'll also have his own army blog about Chaos Demons, which will go up with that as well. We can get 2 sides of how we both think each other did. Yeah, the 312 with fists. The fists are kind of meh, unless you can really deep strike them. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, so 6 attacks totals. I guess they really do need to be in Conqueror protocols. The repulsor grid is... I think the Castellan robots are a little overpriced. I'm going to be honest. I love them in 7th edition. I love their 7th edition rules. They didn't change a whole lot, but there was some wording here that really makes me not a huge fan of them in 8th edition here. First thing being that their 5-up invulnerable save is only against shooting attacks this edition. And it's a key mistake I keep seeing other people who play Admech do. It's only against shooting attacks. So, catching them in melee, sending them up against really high damage things in melee, just doesn't work. Of course, I also keep forgetting that it's in shooting attacks. I only see this now while I'm reading the codex. I'll probably forget again next time I play them because I'm stupid like that and I'm still stuck in 7th edition mindset. They're just a little overcosted, especially with fists. I feel like the fists need to be cheaper and the heavy phosphors need to be more expensive, but I won't argue with either one. It works either way. And that is literally it. That is all I own for the Adeptus Mechanicus. That is everything I own. It's 1,532 points. My entire Admech army. I think I'm bringing my entire army to this game that I'm playing with T shortly. So yeah. Yeah, that's... Well, that's the Adeptus Mechanicus. What comes next for them? So what I'm thinking? Well, what I'm thinking is 2 more of those Games Workshop Get Started boxes. Now, the reason I think this is because, especially if you're Australian, the Adeptus Mechanicus Getting Started box is cheaper to buy than it is to go and buy Onagas separately. And you get a relatively expensive, money-wise HQ that is stupidly priced by itself, and you're getting some Vanguard. Or some Skitarii. And all 3 of those things are amazing choices. So 2 more of those. 1, so I can have a 3rd squad of Skitarii. So I can have 3 Tech Priest Dominus without being reliant on Call, because I'd like to try out some other Forge Worlds, but Call is just too damn... Call's just too damn good. So, and I don't have a 2nd HQ choice. So I need more HQ choices for that. And then, of course, 2 Onagas is fantastic. I'll give 1 the Icarus Array, because that is a fantastic weapon system. And then I think I'll have the other one be... So 3 neutron lasers and 3 neutron lasers and 1 Icarus Array. I see that as my ideal for a Skitarii gun line with those all parked together around Call. Of I see that working very well. Considering 2 of them tends to work pretty well. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to build upon that parking lot. And the Onagas themselves are just fantastic heavy support tanks. Just cheap. They've never really let me down when I've not rolled like crap. When I roll like crap, everything falls apart. It happens a lot. Especially recently. Wow, I cannot catch a break recently when it comes to Warhammer games. So yeah, another squad of Cataphren Destroyers. Now, prior to the Codex coming out, I thought about adding another squad with the heavy grav cannons. Now that the Codex is out, and all the taking account of everything, and how I like to play with them, I think another squad of Cataphren Destroyers with the Plasma Culverns is probably the way to go. Plasma, because it gives a lot of... It'll give some long range, 36-inch, you know. Yeah, it'll give some long range, strength 7, strength 8 firepower, which, ironically speaking, I find kind of weird about Skitarii, that you lack long range, high power weaponry. It's really odd. It's really odd. I'm super not happy about what they did to plasma weapon, to the plasma calivers that the Skitarii have, but no use complaining. Moving on. Definitely gonna add some Sicarian infiltrators. These were an amazing unit in 7th edition, and in 6th edition, even with some FAQ nerfs and Codex nerfs, they're still fantastic. Definitely grab a squad of 5 of them. Maybe even grab 2 squads. Have one squad with taser goads, have one with power swords. See what I kind of need. I have a feeling I'd get more use out of the taser goads, typically speaking. So I'll definitely build a squad of those first with the taser goads. Fulgurite Electro Priest and Corpuscari Electro Priest. Now, these are stupidly expensive models. You need a lot of them. And points-wise, they're a bit of a point sink for as many as you need to be effective. They look terrible as well, and they absolutely were just shite inside of 7th edition. I'm sorry, I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I really think they were shite, especially since Admech still have no transports. Waiting for Forge World to get on that. So 8th edition, they've gotten a lot better, especially some points decreases helps. Ability to fight twice with them. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to cough up the cost, because these things are like $95 Australian for 5 of them. It's ridiculous. I might just have to suck that up and get 3 boxes, get 15 of one, or maybe 20 of one of them, or maybe 10 of each. I don't know yet. I don't know what my army needs, because I haven't actually played with the full 1,500 points of Adeptus Mechanicus, that is my army, in a single game yet, which is what is good about immediately going away after I finish this and going to go fight T at a 1,500 point level. Hopefully it'll help me figure out what I need, Fulgurites or Corpuscari. I'll let you know on that. The Iron Striders and the Sidonian Dragoons. I like the Dragoons, especially now they've got AP-1. I just dislike the model so much for both of them. They're both pretty good. I just dislike the model, and I dislike the cost associated with the model. This is a spam army. You need lots of the models to be effective, and in Australian pricing, they're all ridiculously costed. Points-wise, they're all pretty cheap. It's tempting to invest in some Iron Strider Ballistry or some Sidonian Dragoons. I have a feeling if I was going to invest in some of them, I'd probably need maybe 3 of each or 3 of one. It's the same thing as the Priests. I don't know which one I need, and I don't know how many I need just yet with my current army configuration. Something I'll have to figure out in the future. Especially if I want to try and run some brigade detachments, which is the ultimate plan. I'm hoping with the Tau Codex on the horizon that sometime after that Tau Codex drops, we'll get Fires of Cyrax, Imperial Armor, from Forge World, and I'll have some more, better, yes, better units to choose from, since the Mechanicus Forge World stuff is crazy. And it's Admech. How do I not have access to more than just one kind of robot? Speaking of robots, I'm so torn on whether or not to add more Castellan robots with their overcosted price as is, especially for something that I don't know. I don't know whether or not I'm going to add more of them. So far, I'm thinking I will, and I'll magnetize them again, make a really large squad, or I won't. Again, I think I'll wait for fires of Cyrax before I decide on whether or not I'm going to add any Castellan robots and add any Ballistari or Dragoons. Priests and Infiltrators are a definite must-add. More squishy frontline Vanguard. They're fantastic. They combo well. I love their minus toughness ability. The Ride Guns took a bit of a nerf, but they're still okay. Especially when you fire lots of them. Onagas. More Onagas are required. Now, Imperial Knights. I'm hoping Forge World at some point will say that you can use the Forge World Knights and have them have the Questor Mechanicus keyword. Currently they don't. And I really don't like any of the Knights in this book at all. I really don't like any of them. The Crusaders may be the best of them. Crusader or Warden. And I've seen Knights perform pretty badly this edition. And I dislike Knights to begin with. But they are really big robots. They would be a nice centerpiece to add to the Admech army. A nice, really big unit to sort of anchor my line even more, even if it is just to soak sponge firepower, to damage sponge. But regardless of the fact that the Forge World ones don't have the fact that they don't have Questor Mechanicus doesn't bother me, because I'm thinking I'm either going to get a Castigator, a Lancer, or a Styx. Yeah. I'll put pictures up on the screen of the Knights I'm talking about. I'll remember it when I go to edit this video. Yeah. So, Knight Crusaders. Or one of those 3 Forge World Knights. Because I can put them in a separate detachment and they won't break the canticles. The reason I want those canticles is very simple. I typically play as Mars. And I like the canticles. As far as Forge Worlds go, I'm really drawn to Mars, Lucius, and Styges, as well as Graia. However, at the time of recording this, I've only had a go with Mars, since Call is pretty much mandatory at such low points limit, since he's literally only one of 2 HQs I own, so I've got to bring him, pretty much. And if I'm bringing him, might as well make use of his abilities. So, I've only run Mars thus far. I've not yet... Today will be the first time I've run Mars from the Codex. And it's also the first time I'll be using the Codex for this army. So that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to trying Lucius and Styges and Graia. Agrippina and Ryza, no. Some of these stratagems are really fantastic. Others are really, I like the stratagems in this book. I really look forward to trying them out. A couple of ones that are just, yeah. If you know anything about Adeptus Mechanicus, you know they're pretty stratagem hungry. Warlord traits, there's a couple that I just don't get why they're here. I'll be honest there. We didn't do a review on Adeptus Mechanicus when it came out. We were still getting used to 7th edition, getting used to the transition. I'll I'll say one thing, when this codex came out, I felt like, oh cool, they've given us all the tools we need to succeed, but they've distributed it in such a way that we'll never have all of the tools we require to succeed. And of course, the whole thing about people mixing and matching Forge World attachments happened. And it's still happening, so yay. Yeah. I'm really not impressed with the relics. Arkan Lad's personal pimp cane is probably the best one, followed by the Technomiter and the Onision Mask. The Raiment of the Technomiter is pretty good, so is False Phoenix. Yeah, I'm really happy that they've gotten some points changes, though, in Chapter Approved. That was really nice. Kind of needed that. It's made certain units, like the Priest, a lot more attractive to me. Before, I wouldn't have even given the Priests a shot, but yeah, there we go. That's how the army currently stands. Now I've got to go take this army away and go do a match, and then, I'm going to be filming during the match, but it's not going to be a battle report per se. We won't be doing it in the studio, we'll be doing it down at our local gaming store, and T's not even bringing a fully painted army, which we typically hate to do, but we'll be taking some footage anyway, so that we can, in our next video, a follow-up to this Adeptus Mechanicus blog, and a follow-up to his Chaos Demons army blog, that we can go through it together and share what we learned about our armies and how we plan to change them in the future. Please, if you play Adeptus Mechanicus or you have some thoughts on Adeptus Mechanicus or any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Let us know what you think. What do you think how my army stands? What do you think we should do to improve it? Any sort of recommendations you think? If you can help me out with certain things like Druid Dragoons, are they worth it? Priests, how many and what kind? Yeah, any sort of thoughts on that, please leave them in the comments below. Don't be afraid to comment. We're always happy to learn what you guys think of armies, how other people build them. Knowledge is power. Gotta hoard it. Yeah. This concludes it for this army blog for Adeptus Mechanicus. We'll see you next time in sort of our post-battle discussion video. So, see you then.